Oh. Do it a little bit later. What's going on, guys? This is Burrs, here to talk to you today about winter backpack layering. So you might see my other video that was titled Backpacking Tips, how to properly layering for backpacking. But this one's going to be specific about winter. That one discussed winter somewhat. This one I want to be titled Winter Layering for Backpacking. And the thing you have to remember is you don't need the big huge layers when you go backpacking. Alright, so that is heavy. That's probably 40 pounds, maybe 45 pounds, and you have to account for that when you go winter backpacking. You have to account for the fact that you're carrying weight, you're doing an exercise more or less, your body is going to heat up. For instance, today it's about 24 degrees out, somewhere around there, and I have this base layer on right here, just a icebreaker wool base layer, nothing below it. As you can see, I have a fleece from Icebreaker as well, wool fleece. Then I have this Arc'teryx. This is their Atom SL, super light, which means it has a little bit of Primaloft right here, but nothing in the arms. Then I have some Fingerless Gloves on. And that's keeping me warm, almost to the point of being too warm. And you might see in the videos where I might have this unzipped, just trying to get a little bit of airflow in there. That's one way you can regulate your body temperature. But you want to make sure you have options, and having more layers that are thinner give you options. Now, is there a place and time for big, bulky items? Absolutely. When you get to your camp for the night, you get to your campsite for the night, you probably want to put on big layers then, because you're going to be cold, you're going to be stationary, you're not moving. When you're backpacking, you have your backpack on, you're moving through the trail, the woods, wherever you're at, you are going to be exerting energy, you're going to be heating up. Once you get to your campsite, and you start setting up and you're done for the night, you're going to be sitting and you're not going to be exerting any aerobic activity, so to speak. So you're going to be cold at that point, which is when you need the big puffy layers. So pack the big puffy layers, for the top here, like a big puffy down puffer jacket maybe, or something like that. Extra hoodie, big thicker hoodie or cap. You want to pack that stuff for when you're stationary. You also want to make sure that you pack the proper items. So for instance, you don't want to wear this first. This is a shell, so to speak. It has some wind and some weather resistance to it. I'm going to wear that on the outside, not on the inside. So let's take a closer look at what I'm wearing. Today, it's about 24 degrees out right now. It's snowing a little bit. You can see it's cold out, right? What you want to wear is multiple layers, and I usually wear 3 layers. The outside might change, but the inside's almost usually the same once it gets into the 20s and below. So on the inside, I have a wool base layer by Icebreaker. This is about 240 grams. As you can see, I have nothing underneath of it. That's my base layer. If I have to zip it up to get a little bit so no airflow comes in, I can do that. I don't like the ones that are just crew necks because you don't have that ability. Once we come to the mid layer, I have another Icebreaker item. This is a Icebreaker fleece. It's a Mount Elliot fleece. I'll put a link down below the stuff if you guys are interested. This is nice and toasty, and again, this also zips up if you want to have extra protection right here in regard to getting cold or whatever. Oh, here we go. Getting cold or whatever, you can zip that one up as well. I like to have the neck area, options on the neck area, because that's where cold will get in. That's also where you can keep warm. And then on the outside here, I have an Arc'teryx Atom SL. I think this is the SL. This is the one where they have Primaloft really, really light right through the body, almost like a vest, but nothing on the arms. So it's really just a vest protection, in the core of the body. The arms have no insulation whatsoever. So this is more of a protectant. It's wind resistant, water resistant, lightweight, flexible. I like this a lot. They both have hoods, the mid layer and the outer layer, so if it gets really cold, I can put those on, bundle up, and that's the way I like to go. If it's colder, if we're in the teens, I'm gonna wear a different jacket with a little bit more insulation in it probably than what this has, but I'm active today. I'm going through the woods, on the trail, I got my backpack on, I'm gonna heat up, I don't want tons of layers on. And if you get too hot, it's not precipitating anymore, you can just go ahead and take one of your layers off. Hey guys, hold on, I'm gonna take my layer off here. Take your layer off, throw it in your backpack, and you're down a layer and you're cooled off a little bit. You don't want to start sweating. So having lots of layers on, multiple layers, base layer, mid layer, outer layer, gives you options. All right, so here we are back to the way I was. So having layers gives you options, like I said. You don't want to carry in very big items as your main items, because what's going to happen is you're going to maybe overheat, get a little warm, and then you don't have options to take it off and you know, not be super cold. If you have just a long sleeve regular shirt underneath of a big puffy jacket and you're super warm, then you start moving, you get overheated, you're like, man, I need to take this off, I'm really hot. You stop, you take it off, and then all you have is the one layer underneath. You don't have options, you're gonna freeze to death, you're gonna die. Don't die. The best thing to do, buy a few items, pack them all in, and use them throughout your backpacking trip to see what works for you in different conditions. I would say if you're not sure, don't go in with limited layers. Buy yourself 2 mid layers, 2 base layers, 2 outer shells or outer layers, and you know, work with the different things that you have and see what works for you. I guarantee you're going to use it throughout the years if you're into backpacking. So even if you're buying it and you think it might be a little bit extra, you're going to find out when you actually get out into the woods how it works for you. I've bought stuff in the past and I thought it was going to work one way, it worked another way. So you know, don't exactly think that something's going to work a certain way for you and that's the only way it's going to work. You might get out in the wild and you might realize that it works either too warm or too cold than what you thought in the first place. As far as materials go, I like wool for the most part, especially for a base layer. Wool doesn't stink. It's a really great like antimicrobial type of material, and you know, it doesn't stink. So I can use a base layer that's wool for multiple days on end. I'm not going to smell like I would if I use something that's polyester or synthetic. For base layer, I like that. For mid layer and outer layer, I'm not as choosy or picky, but for base layer, go with wool is my recommendation. Some people might think it's itchy, but wool has come a long way from many years ago until now. They're using stuff that's not super itchy. It's not really itchy at all. The base layer I have from Icebreaker, this is not itchy at all. It doesn't itch my skin. And I do have other stuff that does kind of cause some itch to it that's not Icebreaker. I have an Abercrombie and Fitch, if I even said that right. I have one of their plaid flannels that's wool. That definitely does cause me to itch. So I can tell you that at least for Icebreaker, Ibex, if you're going with an outdoor research wool, which I saw recently, or even Arc'teryx, that stuff's not going to cause you to itch if you have it right against your skin. So hopefully this helped you guys out in regard to your winter backpacking trips and layering for winter. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. If you guys have stuff you've used, like I've said, the things I'm wearing today have worked well for me. If you guys have stuff that works very well for you, go ahead and put that in the comments down below and let everybody know. And until next time, later.